Figma just released a bunch of new features and I've got no idea what they are because I haven't watched the keynote yet. So I thought it might be fun to record my reactions as I watch the keynote, and I'll be sharing my thoughts on what these features mean for marketing and brand designers specifically. Figma often focuses on product designers, UI UX designers, but it's obviously a tool that those of us on the brand and marketing side of design also use, and so I'll be sharing my thoughts on the impact of these features for us. So if you, like me, weren't able to actually go to config this year, I hope you enjoy following along with me. It's a long one, so we're going to watch it on 1.5x speed, and let's dive in.
Welcome to Config 2025.
Hi, Dylan. I do definitely have FOMO that I'm not in this room right now. I only got to go to config 1 year, and it was a blast. It was a great event.
Now,
okay, I think we're going to jump to
the
new things, so let's skip forward a little. Okay, 4 new products. I know about one, so I don't know what the other 3 is.
You're going to hear about a lot of new features and new surfaces in Figma today. But please, please know that we're working just as hard to make sure that we keep up with the quality and the performance that you expect. Because at the end of the day, we don't want your focus to be on Figma. One of our foundational principles from the start of Figma has been that Figma needs to get out of your way. We want to make sure that you're able to do your best work and not get
That's the thing, right? Like, I swear, when I use an Adobe product, it feels like it is working against me, and it's actively trying to prevent me from doing what I'm trying to do. And Figma doesn't feel like that, so they do a good job of that.
Design is more than just pushing pixels. Design is leading with curiosity.
Okay, what is this leading to?
It's asking and re-asking, what if? It's obsessing over the details.
Because clearly this is like teeing up for one of the new products, right?
It's pushing what's possible. In a world where AI makes it easier than ever to build software, design is becoming more essential and more powerful. It's craft, it's quality, it's point of view that makes a product stand out and be loved.
That makes me think they're not leading to an AI product?
Is to help you all explore even more ideas and help you go from idea to product as fast as possible. And for this year's keynote, I want to give a special thank you to Koto, Koto Studio. Almost all the demos
we worked with Koto on the Kit rebrand, and I am very much looking forward to seeing if Kit makes an appearance in any of their examples. Because they did like give me a heads up that they've been working with Figma, and they asked for my permission to use our brand for some things. So let's keep an eye out.
Deeply about, and that is layout. To walk us through this first launch, please welcome Figma designer Giorgio Cavilla to the stage.
Is layout one of the new 4 products? Or do they mean this is an update to like auto layout?
Hello everyone, how we doing?
Layout without the auto. That feels like a step backwards. I don't know.
I'm so happy to be here today on stage because I get to talk about one of my favorite subjects, you guessed it, layout. You see, I spend a lot of time at Figma thinking about layout. And as a result, I have these kind of weird theories and ideas about it.
Wonder if it's print
layout. For example, that layout is a bit like the dark matter.
That's the marketing designer in me thinking.
I know I told you weird ideas.
Like hoping that they prioritize that.
Now, if you think about it, layout is a bit like a gravitational force that you can never see, but is always there to make sure that things stay in place.
Okay, so they're definitely...
Now, raise your hand if you know where this is from.
Talking about the feature?
I see a bunch of old folks like myself. Cool, cool. Well, if you don't, well, if you were a kid in the mid-90s and you had internet access, this is where you hang out. This is the website for the first Space Jam movie back in 1996.
Hell yeah.
And at the time, this was the peak of web design. And honestly, it looks pretty cool to me still now. Now, if we take a look at the layout behind this masterpiece, we will see that even if it's not immediately clear, it's actually built using a grid. Sure, not CSS grid, there was no such thing back then, but still, a grid nonetheless. Because you see, regardless of the technology and the media, grid layouts have been there as a fundamental tools for
teeing up for the
forever.
One thing that I do
even
know about because
print existed,
someone leaked something on LinkedIn
and
several weeks ago, maybe it was a few months ago now.
We kind of started getting a little bit, just a little bit, obsessed with grid. And we use it everywhere. And I mean everywhere.
Speak to that
like
more when it actually gets
to
announced.
Exhibitions. We use grid so much that at some point we got tired of it and we kind of rejected it. And we learned how to break the grid. But you see, the funny thing is, even when you break the grid, there's still a grid to begin with, kind of confirming how important for us designers it is. And this is true, still very true today, because grid layouts are used, again, pretty much everywhere, in our mobile apps, and of course, on the web.
And in
CSS
branded
grid
marketing
has
assets
become
as well.
A standard to create reusable, and beautiful websites. Now, in Figma, you might have heard of this thing called auto layout.
Yes. Yes. Hand up.
Which is awesome to create reusable and flexible designs and components. But when you use it to create two-dimensional layouts like this one, things start to get a little bit messy. Because you now need to create containers just for your containers, and you end up with a lot of pretty nasty things.
I feel like auto layout is something that did take me a while to get my head around.
Opens your file, they will spend 10 minutes just to understand what the hell you did. But
yeah, that was me.
things are about to change, because today I'm very, very excited to introduce a brand new auto layout option for Grid. Okay, enough talk. Let's see Grid in action. For this demo, I'm going to use Kodo's design for Flus, an app that helps shoppers earn cashback.
Okay, so this
now,
one isn't
I've
us.
heard that bento boxes are pretty hot now, so why don't we start there? And we will create one to introduce Flu's brand identity. I have my frame here, and if you follow me here on the side, you can see that we changed things a little bit in the properties panel, but don't worry, everything is still there. We have vertical layout, horizontal layout, wrap is here, by the way, and if I click now on Grid, we'll see that by default, a 2x2 grid gets applied. But I can click here and change it to any size very easily.
This is potentially extremely useful.
Now, I hope you enjoy using this little component as much as I enjoyed designing it and our engineers hated building it. True story. OK, I'm happy with the 8x4. And of course, here I can change the gaps. Let's do it maybe 20 and 20. And if I go here on the canvas, I can resize the paddings.
Nice.
Awesome. Now that I have my grid set up, let's drag some items in it. I can select multiple items, simply drag it, and boom. Now, a couple of things I want to highlight here is that the first one is that items automatically span multiple columns and rows according to their size.
I'm already thinking about how
the second one
understanding how grid works in
so
code is going to help
this is already a responsive design.
people wrap their heads around this feature. Like anyone who already understands CSS Grid is going to be able to use this feature more easily.
Very easy and intuitive.
And it might go the other way. It might help folks who don't know about
just
CSS
drag
Grid
it.
start to understand
as I do
the
this,
feature.
This field now tells me how many columns and rows an item occupies.
Yeah, because
and I can
basically
do it for the
it's
same
choosing how many columns and rows a div in web design will span.
OK, let's continue. Let's have this item here. Nice. Now, in Grid, if I realize that I need to move things around, it's pretty simple. I can select an item, drag it, and drop it. And everything after it will reflow automatically. Now, one more thing about resizing is that in Grid, I can resize every column or rows individually. So I can click an item. It tells me which columns it occupies. I can click here. By default, every
This is going to be so helpful
are set to auto.
for
You can think about it
like resizing
available
social
space.
media assets,
I
I think.
click it now and resize it.
You know, if you set it
And
up
now
as
I can
a
control very precisely.
grid and then you shrink it, it should all, yeah. I think, I mean, I know you could do that with auto layout as well, but I feel like it,
nice bird here that would be awesome to put inside the grid.
this seems like it
There is a
involves
way
less
to make it fly
settings,
inside.
is I
And
think what I'm
I'm doing
saying.
now is pressing Control, and I can put item still in the grid, but absolute position, like the rest of auto layout. OK, things look pretty good here. Let's move
They
on
always
with
do
the
make it
next
look really easy
example.
to use in these demos, and then I
want
get
to
into it and I'm like,
create
wait, what?
calendar
What am I
with
doing
a
again?
feature. If you ever had to build one, you know it's not the most fun things to build. It takes a lot of time, but here I can just drag the date of the week, and I can do this. And now I'm pressing Command. As you can see, easily I can populate the grid.
Nice. But can
And
you
now,
also have it
you probably
update
saw
the
this
numbers?
replace content suggestion coming up. This is our AI feature that is being improved. And if I click it,
Okay,
it automatically detects what I want to do.
nice.
Thank God I don't have to insert those numbers. It will be a very long demo.
That's what I
Now,
was
let me
thinking.
grab these and put inside my app. Now, here I want to show you that the app itself is already a grid layout. That means that, of course, I can nest grid inside other grids if I have to.
Grids on
Okay.
grids?
Now, as I mentioned before, Grid is a very flexible and powerful tool that can be used to create a variety of layouts. And let's see how Kodos did this with the Flus website. Here, we have a grid, kind of similar to the bento box. We have item here that go beyond the grid, which is nice. In this one, it's simpler grid, 2x2, but they use it grid with other auto layout options. So just so you know, of course, you can nest all auto layouts in any combination you want.
Wonder what
Let's
the
continue down
benefit
here.
would be of using grid for that
Another
2x2
classic
idea
use of grid.
versus a
And
regular auto layout.
here, I just want to show you, remember when I mentioned breaking the grid? This is a good example.
I guess it's the
of, how simple
size.
things can also be
I
very
don't know.
effective. So I have this design here, but if I do this, you can see that typography on the left is not too great. But in Grid, it's very simple to having items spanning and overlap others. So I can just drag this, and now I do this. Well, not quite there yet, but if
that's a
dimensions are
benefit,
not
because
enough for
in
you,
auto
you
layout,
can actually
stuff
control
will be
the Z
beside
index.
each
So I
other.
can press the square bracket,
Okay.
and now I can move items before or after.
I'm watching this keynote definitely
Okay.
as a
Lastly, I
Figma
wanna
user
select
learning
this
about new
corner,
features,
and
but
let's
also
switch
as
to
a creative director
And
thinking
here,
about
if you follow me
introducing
on
new
the CSS
features
panel, as you can see,
for Kit.
our grid
And
layout maps
yeah,
already
just learning
very well
from the way
with
that
CSS
they've set up
grid
these
properties.
demos to be so
Like here,
smooth
with
and
the
like,
templates, the
yeah,
gaps, and
answer
if I select an item,
questions,
you
like
will
what
see
happened just then.
we have the span as well. So in this way, grid is another step towards bridging the gap between design and real development. Okay, I think that's it from me. On behalf of the whole team who worked on grid very hard.
So
in the
this
last
is not
months,
one of the
I'm
4
very excited to be the
products,
first one
right?
to show you today.
This is
There's
just a
so much
feature.
more we want to build on grid, and we can't wait for you to try it. There's also a deep dive tomorrow if you're curious to know more about grid. Having said that, thank you so much. Back to you, Dylan.
Cool. I mean, first big new feature launched here, and I do think that that is going to be useful for brand and marketing
All right, what
designers.
do y'all think of our first announcement?
It's more about the discipline of actually using it,
I know,
you know,
Grid is
when you're
something
creating
y'all have been
social media
asking for,
assets
we are
and
super
things.
excited about it.
And definitely for the
And
web.
It'll be
Yeah, for
in
sure.
Figma Design later today. Grid is also going to be available in the next product that we're going to show you. Grid makes it easier to design products and websites. But design doesn't just stop at the mock. You have to prototype it, you got to validate it, you need to design the interactions, the animations, you need to build it, or just publish it. Dogan recently posted on X. He said, I've been waiting for that publish
Here we
button
go.
every config for the past 5 years. It has to happen this year. And Dogan, we've got some good news for you. Because today we're excited to announce Figma Sites.
Knew it. Okay, so this is the feature that I think it was, I can't remember, a couple of weeks ago, someone posted on LinkedIn a screenshot of sites alongside slides, design FigJam. And so yeah, it got leaked for sure. And I think the Figma team asked that they removed it. I don't know if they did, but yeah, it was a big drama in the design LinkedIn community. So now you know.
All right, we'll do this together. Let's do it. Hi, everyone. I'm Tom Giannatasio. I'm one of the leads on Figma Sites.
And I'm also Tom. I lead our advocacy team here at Figma. Now, this is my
Yay,
sixth config.
Tom.
And this is my sixth config, and usually I'm behind the scenes working on the keynote demo, so it's pretty cool to be here on stage to tell you all about what the team's been working on. Now, when I think back to the very first config, I remember one of our marquee feature launches was
Oh, man.
hyperlinks in the Figma editor.
Really
And it was a
feeling
much
for
smaller room,
Framer
but
right now.
An equally enthusiastic reaction. And so it's nice to fast forward to today to talk about taking your designs and deploying them and building a website directly from Figma tools. Now, Tom, I
And
know you have a
Webflow,
rich
honestly.
history,
Like, I'm
very
curious
long
to
history of
see
building tools
what
on the internet.
Yes,
like
that's Tom's
what
way
this
of saying
is,
I'm
but
doing
I
well,
would
but he's
I
not
would
wrong.
for sure
I have
consider
been
moving
building
my
websites
site.
for about 30 years now. And like many of you in this room, I'm sure.
I'm saying
I
that
got
before
started
I've seen
by
the
building
feature,
weird
but that
stuff
is
like
just my
this
trust
on
in
CSS.
Figma.
This is super embarrassing sharing this in front of a room full of the world's greatest designers, but this is when I fell in love with making things for the web. The idea that I could build something and share it with the world with a single click just kind of blew my mind. And I built a career, designing sites and launching them. But as a hybrid designer-developer, I always felt this disconnect between the way that I would work when I'm designing sites in my design tools and the way that I would build them with code. So about 13 years ago, I started a company called Macaw with an idea of like, what if instead of writing code, you could actually just draw it? What if we could enable a
I do
free-form
remember
design
Macaw.
workflow that also output usable code? This was something that I
Did
wanted
Figma
for
require
myself,
them?
but I quickly realized that I was helping people make things that they couldn't make before. And that's kind of the ultimate reward for me as a tool maker. Macaw only lasted for a few years. We all went on to build other things. That is until one of the original Kickstarter supporters reached out. Turns out he also got into building design tools. And he had this idea, right? What if we could turn Figma into a website builder? Would we be interested in doing that? And of course the answer was yes, right? We started thinking about it and realized that maybe that dream is still alive, right? So we've spent the past couple years reimagining that original vision.
I
and
can't
building
imagine
top of the
working
things
on
you
something
already
for
love about
several
Figma.
years
So
and
I'm
not
thrilled
being
to
able
say
to talk
that
about
thanks
it.
to an amazing
Like,
dedicated team, Figma
when we
Sites is now a
rebranded
reality.
ConvertKit to Kit, we kept that secret for a while, but it was only secret for like 7 months, I want to say, before
So
we
we're
told the
gonna
world
start
we
our
were
demo
going to
here in
be
Figma
rebranding,
Design.
and we
I'm sure many of
rebranded
you
in
today
public.
are building and conceptualizing websites
Yeah,
in
I'm
Figma,
just very
and then
used
at
to
some point
working
in
in
the process,
public,
You get everything
I
looking
guess.
just right, and then you need to take your design into
Props
other
to everyone
tools
involved
to
with this, and
build
I
it
can
into a
see why
working
they
real
were
website.
disappointed that it
Now,
got
that's
leaked.
what the team at Kodo did when they were working on this design for Kickin. And full disclosure, if I zoom the wrong way, I'm the only one in today's demo that has to disable natural scroll. So
Oh, it would have been so cool if they'd
let's
used
just take our
the
design here in Figma. What if we
Kit
could pick up where we left off
website for
and
this
come on over
demo.
into the brand new Figma Sites editor to
But
get started.
also, Koto didn't design it,
We've
so
got a desktop frame here, and we're just going to paste our
I
design
can see
in.
why
And
they might not
already
have.
we can continue working on our website. But what's a website in 2025 without thinking about how that website is going to look on different devices? So a long time request from many of you who have been building on the web has been the need for breakpoints. So very quickly, we can add our tablet and our mobile.
See, these are always really impressive, but then it's like you have to do the setup correctly in order to get it to scale nicely like that.
Has been translated to each of the viewport sizes.
Oh, I'm noticing that it's even scaled the fonts.
To make sure it flows properly, just the way that you'd want on mobile.
Interesting.
Now, as you're designing your website, each page is going to have a frame for each one of the viewport sizes that you're designing.
That is something that has been harder to do through like design system components.
Do I have to make it on all 3 sizes? Anytime you select an object in your primary breakpoint, in this case we've selected this headline, you'll see that it automatically engages Figma's multi-edit across all of those frames. So if I go in here and make an edit, we'll update this to say grow with the flow. You'll see that it makes that change across all of the breakpoints.
Nice.
Cool.
And of course, you're obviously going to want to make tweaks on one device but not the others. So when you come in and make a tweak, like maybe adjusting these headlines on mobile, you'll see that change only happens on the mobile device and doesn't cascade.
I was thinking that this feature would be just about publishing a design, but I can see now that
pull in from your Figma library
like,
that already exists in Figma today.
This could be the handover from the website designer on my team to the developer. You know, we won't be publishing the kit.com website via Figma, at least not anytime soon. But like this makes handover easier as well.
And when we come back into Figma Sites and drag this into our design, you'll see that it automatically adapts the right variant for each of the viewport sizes. All right, I'm going to set that to fill. I think this is looking good. What do you think, Tom?
I mean, I think it needs something. Let me take a stab.
Sure.
Let's add some interactions to this. And interactions work just like the prototyping tools that you're already used to. So I'm going to switch over to this interaction tab. And from here, I can start to noodle out and link pages together if I want. But I really want to show you a new feature by zooming in here to this button. I want to add a hover effect to this. And now normally I would have to turn this into a component, create some variants, fiddle with smart animate, but now using a new feature called preset interactions, I can actually just come over here and add a hover effect. And now this is going to give me a few preset values that I can simply tweak. Let's make it get a little bit larger, and we'll change that to a nice bouncy transition. I think that's going to feel good, but let me preview this. So I'm going to hit Shift Space to open up our preview window. And here you'll see when I hover that button, I get a fun little effect.
Nice.
That's pretty easy. I don't want to show you the dictionary. So I want to point out a couple things about this
I mean, it's been a while since I edited my Webflow site, but I think that's easier than adding interactions in Webflow.
What my design looks like on tablet and mobile, all from here. And the other thing is that this is not the normal Figma preview window. This is actually HTML and CSS. So while you're working, all of your designs are being translated to
I want to get in there and inspect that code.
Tom, I saw some other effects in there, though.
Yeah.
How clean is it? Like, how optimized are these sites?
Tom, relax. Yeah, I know parallax. I get it. I'm not going to add it to all the things like Tom loves. I'm just going to add it to this image here. We'll knock it down a little bit. And then, these badges are like a very playful design. Let's just come in here. We'll add, we've got all kinds of things in here. Scroll transforms, custom cursors, that's fun. But I really want to add, let's add draggable to these. We'll put a little momentum on there.
Ooh.
We'll just make sure that they stay inside of their parent.
Did I see a marquee effect in there? I thought they deprecated that tag.
They did. Yeah, that's very good, Tom. They did, but we still love it. So let's also just add a little typewriter effect down here.
They're so brave for like going in and doing a live demo like this.
So what good is it to do all of this work if your site remains unseen? Let's flip over here and click on the publish button, and very quickly Figma will check for any issues with your website. You can see our custom domain, and we'll hit publish.
Okay, everyone in the audience right now is typing that domain.
And hope that in a few moments we get a website that's on the internet.
I think it was the year I was there, or was it the year after? But they shared a screen with the like file URL in the browser, and everyone kept requesting to join the file while Dylan was presenting. It was pretty funny.
Our classic typewriter effect. And down here, we've even used interactive components, the way that you'd normally build them in Figma Design today. And I think that's one of the things that I'm most excited about, is that you can take all of your existing ways of working in Figma, and they directly apply to building websites in Figma sites.
That does not bode well for me, because I do not normally make prototypes, like interactive prototypes in Figma. So there'll be a learning curve for me to do that in order to make a website.
Figma's own Story Studio, who created a custom font and specimen site in collaboration with other means, and Kia Tasbigu. And you may have heard that ReadCV is embarking on a new chapter. Well, we are working with them and Alex Einerson to build a plugin and a template to help you migrate your ReadCV right over to Figma sites.
Nice.
And we've also partnered with the fine folks at Play Studio to build out a collection of gorgeous templates. You can access these from Figma community or from the new file dialog when you create a new website. We think these are going to be a great resource whether you're building your first website or you just want some templates to reference as you're getting started in Figma sites.
Well, dang, now I want to make a template.
Go to the next slide. So
could that be my next product?
In beta today. It'll be available to everybody that has a full seat on a paid plan, and we'll be rolling out access to starter soon. And just a note, in the future when we come out of beta, there will be some additional fees for people who have additional hosting, custom domain, or bandwidth requirements.
Okay.
Now, before we wrap today, we also wanted to give you
That's
a preview
fair.
of what's coming next in Sites. So Tom and I
I
are
was
gonna give you a preview
wondering
of a couple of
what
features that the team's been
plan
working hard
this
on.
would be included in.
Now, we know many of you are going to be
So I
building
know they made a
websites
change to
that are very
plans
content
recently,
heavy,
and obviously
of
it
course
was to
with that
allow
comes the need
for all
dynamic
the stuff
content
that's
and
coming.
also an easy way to manage them. So we're building a CMS that's directly integrated into Figma Sites, and we want to give you a preview.
Sites is the culmination of a lot of hard work from the Figma team, and it's also just a start. There's so many improvements to come. I can't wait to see what y'all do with it. I guess none of us now have an excuse for publishing our portfolio website. While Figma Sites
Yeah, my site hasn't been
designs
updated
to
for
the
a
web,
long time.
sometimes you still need other ways.
Should we
to
do a
design
full
to life.
redesign for
One of the people
sites,
that
or should
inspired
I
us to
just
build
like
Figma in the first place was Brett Victor.
recreate what I had
He once said,
in Figma
ideas
sites?
are very precious to me. And when I see ideas dying, it hurts. I see a tragedy. To me, it feels like a moral wrong. It feels like an injustice. So many great ideas are often left unexplored due to time.
It's very cool
tools,
merch he's
knowledge
wearing too. I
gaps.
just noticed it.
Our next announcement aims to help you take ideas out of your head and into the
New
real
product?
world.
New product?
Today, we're excited to introduce Figma Make. With Figma Make, you can take an existing design and prompt your way to a fully coded prototype. For this demo,
Okay.
please welcome to the stage Holly Lee, product manager of Figma Make.
So this is their AI?
All right. Thank you, Dylan. Hi, Config.
Make is a nice
All right.
name for an AI
I joined
tool.
Figma in January of this year as a PM on the AI team, and it's already been the adventure of a lifetime. Now, like many of you, I've been making for as long as I can remember, including today's Confit. I hope you like it.
Oh, nice.
Now, for work, I get to make AI products, but I'm sure we all face a lot of the same challenges. Turning a design into something real enough to validate takes a long time, and it's hard to do. So that's why we built Figma Make. With Figma Make, you can go beyond having to imagine how your design should feel and actually just experience it. So today,
But
it's
isn't
an
that
honor
what
to present to you all
prototyping is?
Figma Make on behalf of the superstar team behind it. We're building really rapidly.
Ooh,
shipping
I
new
like seeing
features
that it
and
uses
improvements every
Claude.
week.
That's my
And while it's
favorite
still
AI
really
tool.
early, we're just so excited about all the ways Make can change how we design, iterate, and explore. So let's get into it. Okay, like most makes, you're probably going to start with an existing design in Figma. So here, you can see my team is prototyping a music app we're calling Earworm. Now let's say we just want to explore how this core player element will feel, right? How the CD is going to spin, how those buttons will feel like to click. Now, historically, prototyping even a simple design like this would have taken a lot of noodles, maybe an engineer, maybe switching to a different tool. But today is not that day. Now, with Figma Make, you can play with your designs just as you created them, all in Figma. All we're going to do is take that core player frame, copy, and paste it into the Make prompt box. And I'm just going to say,
Okay.
please make this CD player interactive. The CD should spin when I play a track. Thank you. Remember to be
Honestly,
polite
just
to your
impressed
large
that she
language
typed all that
models. And
without
with Figma,
making a
we're not just giving
error
the
and
model
having
an
to push
image
the
of your
delete
design.
key,
We're
because that's
passing
what
the
happens
design
to me.
itself, including all of that structure and metadata. The model can reference the layers in your design, understand what they're for, and iterate. And
So it's
incorporate
like
that
a
knowledge into
replet inside
okay. And this is a
Figma?
live demo, no stage tricks, and models can be finicky, so wish me luck. Thank you. Now, Make is making a plan, it's reasoning. You can see here that we're using Claude 3.7, and code is starting to stream it. Now, many of you have used tools like this before, and you know we're asking the AI to do a pretty hard thing, and it just needs a minute. So while this runs, let's go take a look at some fun Make examples. All right, let's start with this one. You can see here that Tom's team is testing out a new feature for their cycling app called Trail Journey. In Make, I can actually upload a file, so let me give it this bike ride, and then experience all my data instantaneously, live. Look at that. I can play back my route, and I can even interact with my elevation data.
Does this connect with
my design into a
sites?
living,
Like, can you
breathing
then
prototype.
take this and
Let's look at
publish
another
it?
example.
Oh, I do see a publish
Here,
button
Lorik,
up there.
a designer at Maven Clinic, used Make to turn a mobile Figma design into an interactive desktop clinic finder for their users. And this is complete with a real map API. So I can search here in the search bar.
Curious
and
to
actually
know
figure
why
out
they've made
in
this a
map.
separate product
Now,
and
using
not
this
like,
prototype, Lorik was able to reignite a conversation
you know, put
in a
prompt
single application.
functionality into the
All right,
other
and even
products.
here at Figma, we're using Make to prototype our own products. So remember that amazing grid demonstration from Giorgio? With a design
I guess it's
and a
because
few
it needs
prompts,
different
Make was
UI.
able to quickly
The
give
same
us a
reason
sense
that they
of how
made
that grid visualizer
slides
should
a
look
separate
and feel.
product.
Okay, now prototyping is a very powerful use case in Make, but that's not all it's good for. We're also just excited about the ways that Make can raise the ceiling for the types of things you can create in Figma. You guys ready to see some fun examples?
Sure, let's go.
All right, buckle up. In Make, you can manipulate and render complex graphics, like these shaders, courtesy of our designer Daniel, and he even threw in some really fun animations. And in Make, you can explore in new dimensions. Check out this amazing 3D tool by our designer Tammy.
I
And if you
feel
just bear with
like
me for a
I've
second,
seen
let's see how
some
good my cursive is. I can
Figma,
write
what are they called?
config.
Designer
All
advocates
right.
posting some
Okay,
interesting,
and look at that.
like experimental
She's even
things,
incorporated a
sort of like this
skybox
recently.
and real materials
And
like
obviously,
glass
this is
here
what
in
they
metal.
were
And the next one is a personal
Creating
favorite
it
of
in?
mine. In Make, you can create and step into immersive worlds. So Tammy also created this really fun game where you can actually just wander around a forest, and if they'll challenge me, take on some of these gnomes. Pew, pew, pew. Okay, I know this looks simple, but I've actually not won this game a single time. All right, let's look at one more really fun example. Oh my gosh, I'm being attacked. Okay, in Make, this is an experimental app by our friend Bruno. He's leveraging a hand tracking technology to manipulate shapes and colors. And because you can publish makes, this means you can also access the hardware of your device and do things like this.
That is cool.
Very, very cool. And all of these examples are just the tip of the iceberg.
And this is cool because it's made in Figma. I have to remind myself of that. Like,
one of the things we're working on in Make is bringing it into more parts of Figma. And you guessed it, the first place is Figma Sites. All you have to do is jump into the split view, and here you can see Tom's history of prompting with Make. Now we're so stoked about what this represents. You can freeform design on the canvas, turn it into React code, and then bring it to life with Make. This opens up so many possibilities, and we can't wait to see where you take it in Sites. Now remember that generation from earlier? Let's take a look. As you can see, this was our original design.
I didn't quite understand what she was showing there
but we know
about
we never actually stop here.
the connection
we
to
keep adding
sites.
things, right? Riffing on it, adding designs, adding functionality. And to give you more creative control, we've actually introduced ways to target your edits to specific parts of the design. So we're introducing the Point and Edit tool, which allows you to directly manipulate things like size, color, and font of elements on the page. And for more complex, thank you.
That is helpful.
And for more complex and open-ended edits, we also have Point and Prompt, where you can just pass in the specific
When I
part
used
of the design,
Replit at
pass
our
along, and we make changes there.
Create
Like,
Week,
say,
if you didn't
make
see the
the
video
CD
about that,
spin
by the
more
way,
3D.
you should go check it out. It was a really fun, like,
These are
story
only my
time
edits.
video
And
that I
one of the
made.
best parts of
We
Make is that
created
it's all in
an
Figma, so
AI
the gang's
creator
all here.
coach.
What I actually want to do is
But that was the one
collaborate
challenge I
on
had in
this
Replit.
design
I
with
was
my
like, I
entire
just
team.
want to edit this
So as a
myself
parting
because
note,
if I'm
let's
telling
see
you to
my
edit
team
it,
take
you're not
your
doing what I want.
All right. Okay. It looks like the gang's all here. Earworm 4.0 has gotten quite a facelift. And it looks like Greta and Noah have even added a real AI DJ experience. Give me a song. We know a lot of you are probably prototyping and designing AI chat experiences, and you can do that in Make. And you can not only rig this up to other models, but you can also rig it up to real data sources. So we can fetch real audio tracks for all of these music tracks right here.
Wonder how this
Now,
is going to like change the pricing of
Figma. We hope you all
Figma.
have as much fun using it. We're only just getting
Because
started. And
the
so from
price
my
of
team
AI
to yours,
tools recently
we
is
can't wait to see all
they're
of
all
the
going
amazing
up.
things you'll make. And with that, I think I'm going to play myself off. Thank you.
Incredible demo, Holly. Thank you. So we're super excited to see what y'all make with Figma Make. We also know it has a long
Yeah, like
way
I said,
to go.
I like the
And
name
I'll be
for
the first
that.
to tell you that your results
You know,
may be
making something
non-deterministic
with
because
AI is how we need to be thinking about it.
Also, we are
Not
rapidly
just like
improving
giving
Make.
AI the
It
job
will
to
build
do
changes in
and
days,
yeah,
weeks.
trusting it
So stay
blindly.
tuned,
It's
and
more
you'll
like a
see quite lot more
collaborative
coming.
partner.
Make will be rolling out
But yeah,
to
how will
everyone on
that
all
help
seats over the
brand
next few
marketing
weeks.
design?
And the beta period, Make will be free with some usage limits.
Maybe
for going
with
above and
prototyping
beyond.
interaction ideas for the
And when we exit
website,
beta, Make will
I
be a
could
paid
see that
product.
being useful.
So far this morning, we've shared updates for how you improve, design, build websites and products.
I
But we know that's not
wonder
all
if
that
there's
you
a
used
way
Figma
to
for.
use it to
Over the
create
years, we've seen you all stretch the platform in
animations,
so many innovative
like
ways.
motion graphics.
When we noticed that people were doing brainstorms and using
Like
Figma
if that
as
could be a
space to
publisher like
together in
exporting option.
2020,
I'm not sure.
we built FigJam. And when we saw that so many of the files in Figma Design were actually slide decks, we built Figma Slides.
Okay, what have they
Building new
noticed?
products for these use cases does two things. First, it helps us keep Figma Design focused on product design. Second, it creates more accessible spaces for you to bring your collaborators in with you. And in the past year, we've noticed something else. You've created millions and millions of marketing assets and branded content, things like social posts, campaigns, even print material in Figma Design.
Yes.
And designing these things in Figma,
Where else would we make
that's
them?
not the hard part. It gets harder when you try to work with people who don't live in Figma all the time, like we do. So we think there can be a better way. And to tell you about one of our new products, please welcome our creative director, Damien, to the stage.
Damien! I had him on my Inside Marketing Design podcast a few years ago. He's great.
Hey everybody, thanks Dylan. Hey Config. I can't hear you. Just kidding, I totally can hear you. Hi everyone. I'm a designer that never gets told to make the logo bigger. I'm not sure if you saw the Config logo outside, but it's ridiculous. It's massive. But it's true though, brand builders like myself, we're already in the file. In fact, I'm so in the file that I'm often there like 3 times. I'm my own hovering art director. And as an internal creative studio here, as an internal creative studio here in Figma, our brand team creates a lot, and for a lot of teams. And with the sheer volume of requests that come in, we just can't get to everything.
That would have been a bit, like that's going to
Many
lead to
requests that we
something.
receive are often making,
Yep.
sorry about that, it's embarrassing. First live demo and I get this?
Yep.
Okay, we're often making small copy changes or production level tweaks. But we know our collaborators really need the work done.
I'm like shocked right now that Figma is doing something specifically for brand and marketing design.
When we become the production bottleneck, our partners are left to their own devices. And ultimately, that can risk the... Who is Lauren?
This is so relatable.
Working during the demo? Where are you? Lauren, are you really working during the keynote right now?
Hi, Damien. Hi, everyone. No, I just know you're so busy. I was just following up on those assets we talked about. I thought we could work on them after the keynote. I didn't mean for you to get the slacks right now.
Okay, well, when do you need them by?
Ideally yesterday?
Classic. Well,
very
I
classic.
Do have a few minutes, and I was about to...
Oh, I can't wait to talk to Jackie, the brand designer on my team, about this.
Sure, why not?
All right, let's do it. Everyone, Lauren McCann, our director for Figma EDU. It looks kind of like we planned this. Did we plan this? I think we planned this.
I don't know.
All right. Okay, so if I remember correctly, your request, you were looking to promote a new live stream series?
Yeah, that's exactly right. So our campus leaders are going to be hosting a series of talks across dozens of their campuses, and we need help making assets for them. Also, quick shout out to our amazing campus leaders and all the other students and educators here today.
My mind is going, okay, is this going to mean
So yeah, that's what we kind of need help with.
Okay, well,
folks can easily edit templates to make their own assets?
If you see here,
And if so, what seat will that be included in? Because I want that to happen.
But I get nervous I'm going to break them. It might just be faster if you...
Okay, I hear you, but I was about to introduce a new product that's actually purpose-built for this use case in mind.
Yes, yes.
It's called Figma Buzz, and let's check it out.
Ooh, okay.
I didn't think there would be anything in this keynote that I was more excited about than sites.
Figma Buzz looks very similar to Figma Design, but with a streamlined, more focused UI. It gives you easy access to your shared brand library, so illustrations.
Announce it as part of the
logos,
collab seat. Announce it as part
we
of the
can also
collab
start
seat.
from a template.
Okay, I can already tell this is going to be so much easier for me to get into this file than what you normally send me. No offense.
None taken. My files are often a disaster. But let's get started. We have some templates right here. So these are the templates that the team made. You can access them in Buzz. They designed them in Figma Design and brought them into Buzz.
Okay.
So what channels are you promoting on?
So we want to make this a social-first campaign. So we definitely want to do something for stories.
Okay.
I would love to make something for the main Instagram feed. And
Is it gonna-
let's do LinkedIn too. You know, everyone's all about that thought leadership. So.
All about that thought leadership. Okay.
If she updates the title in one place,
So
will it update
now
across
we
all of
have
them?
all of the assets in here on the canvas. You can navigate to them pretty simply. And then you can edit on canvas. But if you're more comfortable and you don't want to feel like you're breaking anything, you can just hit the edit content panel here. And this is where you can
I'll
adjust
give
the
it a go.
information. Okay, yeah, go ahead.
So let me add the title.
We've tried something like this in the past with, was it called
And
variables?
when he's actually giving his talk.
Where you could like type in the side.
And, oh look, it even edits the text on a path on the circle. That looks pretty nice.
Pretty cool.
Okay, so now I definitely need to
Text
swap
on
out
a
this
path?
picture to be Braden, but I only have pictures of
That's new, right?
students in normal color, but I noticed
I'm
that
pretty
sometimes
sure
tends
that's
to be,
something
like,
that I
having
usually
filters
find
on it.
myself
So
opening
in the template,
Illustrator
it
to have to
inherits with
do.
the styling there.
Okay.
So if you do drop in the photo, it'll make it black and white automatically.
Like I've
Perfect.
There we
tried to
go.
find Figma
Cool.
plugins for that in the past and they've not been super
Another awesome thing
successful.
about this, there are variants attached to this template.
What is a variant, Damien?
Well, variants, even in a template here, you do have some creative control. So variants allow you
Okay,
to
so
swap
didn't
assets
update
out.
across all
So
of
for
them.
example, that image in the back there,
Okay.
there are some more options. So you hit swap, yeah, there you go, you found it.
Oh, nice. I can just change out the pattern.
Yep. Do you want to see something else cool?
I would love to.
Okay, cool. Well, if we zoom out here to grid view, we can see our entire campaign. And okay, we only have one photo of Braden. So if we want to change it on all of these other assets, all we need to do is click, hit the multi-edit button, upload image, and there we go.
There we go. Braden's everywhere.
Braden's
okay.
everywhere.
So this is
What about
definitely
the
going to save me time, but I still need to do this for what? 25 events, 3 channels.
75 assets?
So I have to do these all one by one?
No. We do have a bulk create feature right here on the left panel. Yeah.
Okay. Ooh, okay, I'm seeing a CSV upload. Now you're really speaking my language.
Ooh.
Okay, as a marketer, I do love my spreadsheets, and I already do have something from my team with all the data for the event. So do I just press open?
Yep. And then you just need to map the info from the spreadsheet to the elements on the design, and there you go.
Okay, I think I saw Tom and Tom do this in their site CMS demo. So see, I was paying attention and looking, but
Okay.
all right. So let me try this out. So I'm going to match the titles to the title. I'm going to do name for name. I'm going to go photo.
This is going to force all of us
and
to
then
be
I'll
more
do
systematic around what
to
we're
date
designing for
and just
sure.
create.
And we will do it
And-
because
Oh,
it
shit, they look so
will,
good, Damien.
wow,
Oh my
it will lead
God.
to things
Look at these
being
cuties. You know what?
Look at them all.
easier
This
for
looks
us
so
in the
good. I
long
think
run.
I'm just gonna go back to my seat and send it to the students.
You're gonna, okay,
they need it yesterday, like I
okay,
said. So
got it. Okay.
thank you.
Thanks, Lauren.
What about
That was actually
exporting?
kind of fun. Well, that's Figma Buzz, everyone. That's you, Dylan.
Buzz. I guess buzz because it's marketing, you're creating buzz, but I don't know about that name. Not in love with it.
Thank you, Damien. And Lauren, that was a lot of hustle working from the keynote. All right, we're very excited to hear what you think of Figma Buzz. So notes and availability.
Ooh, I just,
The beta for Figma Buzz is rolling out today to all users. And when
Full
it exits beta,
and dev
it will be
seats.
included on the full and dev seats,
Okay.
as well as a content seat.
That's a
It's new
shame.
and available later this year.
Okay.
This seat is for your collaborators who contribute content for Buzz,
Okay.
Site CMS, and other products down the road. It will also have access to FigJam and slides.
Okay.
So we hope this makes Figma more accessible to everyone.
Not quite what I was
who has
hoping
need
for,
to
but
contribute
better than having to
content
pay for a
the
full
design
seat for
process.
everybody.
All right, y'all ready for our last announcement of the day?
Because that full seat is just so expensive. I
For our
am the
last
like the
announcement, we're
keeper
gonna bring it
of
right
the
back to where
Figma
we
seats,
started, and that
and
is Figma
kit,
design.
and yeah, it's a
When we started Figma, one of the first things
it's
we
a
worked
hassle
on
to make
was
sure
trying to
that
challenge
everyone
existing conventions
who
around
needs
vector
access to
editing.
design gets it, and
That
anyone
led
who
us to a
doesn't,
bunch of
we don't have to
explorations
pay
on
for
what we call
them.
vector
You know what I mean?
networks. Evan, my co-founder, in particular, really
Okay.
wanted to figure
This
out
might
a
be the
different
text
way
on a
to do
path,
paths. And
where they
I'm
might
super
talk
proud
about it.
of where we got to with this. That was also a long time ago. And since then, over the years, we've accumulated some long-standing issue. Anyone here recognize this?
Yes,
I'm so sorry.
that happens to me all the time.
Whether it's Boolean ops, flattening vector objects, outlining strokes, we know there's a lot to fix. And so we did a complete rewrite of this functionality to improve core vector editing.
Ooh.
We're bringing
I just
more
noticed there's
visual
text on a
expression
path on his
into the
t-shirt
Figma
as
editor.
well.
22 new features and improvements to be exact. Are you all ready for this? To walk us through all of that, please welcome the instigator of this effort, an engineering leader on our team, and the product lead for this effort, Lauren Bedoric.
Wait, is this going to be a new product?
Have a blast.
Because we've had 3, right?
Hi, I'm Lauren,
Sites.
and I'm an engineer here at Figma. You might be wondering, why is there an engineer on the
Make
keynote stage? They usually keep
buzz.
us locked in the back. But I'm here because the work I'm about to share with you is very personal to me. I was a designer briefly before I was an engineer. I was an art major in school, and so I knew how to use creative tools long before I knew how to code. I still have a lot of creative side hobbies on the side.
Are they going to do like a
And I've worked
separate
at Figma for 7
Illustrator
years now,
type
and in this whole time, I've been
product?
very frustrated by all the things that I couldn't do in Figma. I've worked on countless makery projects over the years to hack more expressive tools into Figma. But I work on the core editor team, and we've always been laser focused on meeting the needs of our core product design users. As the editor team, we're constantly working on things like typography features or shipping a better version of auto layout. But design is evolving, tools are evolving, you saw that today, and we felt like, while tools are getting more powerful, design is sometimes also getting a little bit flat. Maybe it's time to raise the ceiling on what you can do in Figma, to give users more power to unflatten their designs and to enable more craft. So today, I'm very excited to share with you what has happened to our dev mode toggle, which is that as of today, you can now use this toggle to switch to Figma Draw.
They're doing a Procreate competitor?
Okay, so I'll go ahead and toggle to Figma Draw. And you can see right away that there are some obvious visual differences in the UI. We have these big layer previews in the layers panel, some new tools in the toolbar, and also some UI elements that are more optimized for visual design, like sliders. But I'm going to start by talking about some of the improvements we made to vector edit mode. I've done a lot of vector editing in Figma, and I know that it can be pretty limiting at times. So we're going to start with this icon set that Koto is doing for Gostini, and it looks like we're trying to make a bunch of food icons. And this is supposedly a pasta, but it's not quite there yet.
Mentioning Koto,
So
I just
we'll go ahead
remembered
and
that I
select
haven't
this,
seen Kit
hit enter,
anywhere
and
yet in this
select all these
presentation.
shapes. And you can see
Maybe
at
it'll
Draw
come
that
in
we have
this
this nice contextual
section.
menu here with a bunch of common actions you might want to do, Boolean operations, use this mask, etc. But actually today I want to vector edit these, so I'll hit return. And now I'm actually in vector edit mode on all of these shapes at the same time, which is my new best friend. I can now select all these vertices and I can edit them all at the same time, which is pretty powerful, but I actually want to use our new shape builder tool today. So I'll hold Option and click or drag through some shapes that I want to remove, and click and drag through some shapes I want to combine. And that is the shape builder tool.
Wow. That seems like something that would take a bit to get your head
Now, I also wanna do some more
around.
precise editing on these
Just
vertices,
like
and so historically I can click to select these, or I can drag
whatever
boxes
they
around them.
call
That can be kind of imprecise at times.
Figma's
So
vector
today I'll also
editing.
use our new lasso selection tool and select a really nice
That
precise
takes a while to
selection
get
of
your head around
vertices.
too, especially if you're
I'm gonna
very
select
used to
these instead
Illustrator.
and change the corner radius, and now this is looking a lot more like a pasta shape.
It's nice to be able to select points like that because
Okay,
that has been a challenge in the past as
I
well.
want to make this pop by adding sort of this red scalloped edge. So I'm going to bring the circle to the front. And historically, I might do this by duplicating the circle a bunch of times around the perimeter, but that's going to get pretty unwieldy and kind of hard to manage. So instead today, I can add a new radial repeat. Now I can change the gap here. I think something like that would be nice.
And then increase the
change
number.
count. I'm off by a couple.
Yep, a very
And now I have this repeat
Illustrator-like
that looks
feature.
really nice. Around the border, I'll send it to the back, and now I have this scalloped edge.
Nice.
Okay, a few of you might have caught something in the Buzz demo that you might not have seen before in Figma, which was
Oh, there's
have
so
some
much
text
for
on
us
the path.
branded marketing
So
designers
I'm
to
gonna select this
learn.
text edit because I don't trust myself to type on stage. Select this path, use the type tool, and if I click here, I can add text to the path.
Yes! Sorry, that's probably really loud.
And finally, this vector is looking sort of pretty computery, but Gostini is looking for like more of an old world feel. And so we might achieve with that with some of our new effects. So I'm going to add a
I'm
new
excited for
texture
what
effect.
this might do
And you'll see right away we can
for...
enable all kinds of
Well,
interesting aesthetics by changing these parameters. And this is sort of a non-destructive effect that I can easily apply to this. So I might go something more
Okay.
like this. And you can see if I zoom in here, it would make this
I'll finish
kinda
my thought in a
smaller.
sec.
Now this has like a nice sort of roughened effect as if it's been printed on paper.
Okay, yeah, I mean, that just adds to it. I'm excited for what this might
Cool.
do
We're
for
gonna let this
design,
little
because I
prototype
feel like
work
everything
after
got pretty
and
flat
open it in, like,
because
preview. And I might have a
we were
problem with this
using
prototype, which
the
is
features that were easily
navigation elements
accessible
here are kind of not
in
standing out against the
a tool
background
like
of the
Figma
scroll.
or
So I might,
Sketch
like, add some
back
kind
in
of
the day.
stem here, and make it fixed.
And then gradients
And then,
became
I might do
easier
something
until we
like
started
that,
using them a
where
lot.
make it a little bit shorter.
Noise, but
And so that's like kind of nice, but it has this sort of sharp edge here that I don't really love.
yeah, when it
And so
comes to
now,
like
today, I can instead
graphic
change this to a
design,
progressive blur.
yeah, doing it in Figma, I think we
Pretty exciting.
have gotten a little
So you
bit,
can see I can easily change the
not
start and end blur
lazier,
values, and I
but
can move these
like,
handles
it's
around
been
just like a
harder
gradient.
to be
I'll go
super
something like this.
creative.
And now you can see as I scroll that
Whereas
it
this
lets my
seems pretty
navigation
easy.
elements pop here. And you can use progressive layers.
Wait, I'm confused. Why is this part of Figma
Okay,
Draw?
I'm going to these illustrations that Niles from Koto is working on.
That example
and
just
these are
then.
looking really good, but they all look very sort of vectory. And so I might see what I can do to make these look a little
This
more
is us.
hand-drawn.
These are our
So
illustrations.
What I'm going to do is try on this watering can to add a new brush stroke. So I'll change the stroke
It's a
weight
shame
here,
that no
change
one
the brush
will know
options,
that.
And you can see I can give you all kinds of
'Cause she
brushes
didn't
here
say.
that we have presets. And I think that's pretty good. Now I might also do this on the colors.
So
I can
these
open the
illustrations
settings,
were created
maybe
for
some other
us
kind of brushes.
originally.
Like
I'll
that
put one
one.
on screen
And
right
also
now
these
so
are
you can
nice
see like
hand-drawn.
our final version. By the illustrator at Koto.
Now I might also want to draw
Like,
freehand with a brush tool. And so I'm
by
gonna select this brush
hand,
tool
but
and do the
digitally.
bravest thing I'm doing today by hand drawing on a trackpad on a stage.
And so being able to
And I can change my brush
recreate
settings here
them
at
or
front.
like
I can
create
also
this type of
use option to scroll, change the
illustration
brush weight here and do a little bit of shading here.
in
something like this.
Fi-
Maybe draw some shadows here.
Wow.
And I think this is looking nice and hand drawn.
I mean, yeah, that is not our style. So now I'm glad that they didn't put our name on
Next we
this,
move on to
but still.
paper airplane, and I
hope
think
we
this
get
is also
some
looking
credit
obviously like
somewhere.
very sort of sharp and computery. And so I might
This
want
is
to make
our
this a little bit more pencil
deliverability
drawn.
illustration,
I can also
actually.
add a new dynamic stroke, which is sort of a programmatic way to have these like wiggly strokes. So I can change the frequency values. So the middle values
Cool.
also very wiggly, and the smoothing values, and get something that looks sort of pretty nice and hand drawn.
I am thinking that
And
my
maybe something like that.
Scribbles component
So I'm
library
pretty happy with that.
product
Now I might also think that this red
may
is looking
now
like
be
sort of really solid, so I might
irrelevant.
want to use a pattern for this instead. Historically, to do this, you might
It's only
make a
$5
circle and then
though,
duplicate it
so
5,000 times. And as
grab
an
it
engineer,
if you
I
want
tell
some
every time you do that,
handcrafted
your CPU
scribbles
dies
by
a little
me.
bit inside. So instead, we built something that is powerful and useful, but also way better for performance, which is new pattern fills. So I can select a pattern fill here, and then select a source from the canvas, and now change my scaling and my spacing values. Change this to a hex pattern.
I mean,
Yeah,
specifically
I do
creating a
like this.
halftone pattern
I
like
also decide
this
now that I don't like this one, and change it
is
to
something
just
that
like
I've
a
often
pattern.
wanted to do and
Make it a
haven't
little bit
done
smaller, a
because
little
of
bit looser.
the
I think that looks
complexity
sort
of
pretty
doing it
good.
in Figma. So that's what I
And
mean
another thing
about the
about
like
these patterns is that I might also now realize this
our
doesn't really match the aesthetic of the dynamic strokes
graphic
I've added.
design getting
And
more
so if I
simple
actually update the
and
source
like
layer of this pattern,
not using
then all the
details like
patterns will
this
immediately
because they
update
were
so you can see I
harder
changed this
to
this
harder
stroke's
to do.
dynamic, and now all my patterns are also dynamic strokes.
Oh, that's cool. Oh, I'm so excited to play around with this.
Okay, next we'll move on to this illustration of some gears, and this is sort of in a manga style. It has some really nice sort of stroke
This is
variation
our
here that I really
operating
like.
system
And
illustration.
I think that this stroke is looking not quite right. It looks a little bit too uniform and too thin. So I might select this, enter vector edit mode, and use a new variable width stroke tool. Now I can change the stroke weight here, also change it over here, maybe also over here. And then I can move these sort of stroke anchors around to give this sort of any kind of aesthetic. Yeah. Now, variable strokes will be rolling out in a month or two, but we were too excited not to show you today. So when they're ready with all kinds of pressure sensitivity and stuff, then we will release them. And finally, this bird illustration is looking a little bit sort of like too flat and vectory, and so I might want to try using that same texture effect that I showed you earlier. So I'll go ahead and add a texture effect, but play with
I
some
mean,
different values.
I'm going to put our real
aesthetic,
one
so
on
not
screen
like
right now.
large
You can
radius
and you can
and a
see
size.
how
Let's stick with sort of a smaller size and a relatively large radius, and I think that's
Wow.
looking pretty textured, but still sort of legible as a bird.
how
And then I can
close
also
this
use
is
the
getting
shape
to it.
option to make the texture clip to within the bounds of the path.
Yep. Oh my gosh. Okay, I need to pull it up, but you can be looking at it right now. Like, how similar is it?
And
I
finally,
think
this
it's
peak
pretty
is looking a
similar.
little bit askew, and so I might add a rotation origin point by adding option R. Then I can drag this rotation origin here and rotate this around the edge here.
Nice.
Cool. So this is the final illustration that Figma has come up with, and I think
There
this is
we
really good.
are.
And another really fun thing about doing this in Figma is that it integrates really well with all the Figma features you've come to know and love. So in this case, I also set these up using color variables, and so I can go to the appearance panel.
Oh,
change
that's
to dark
so
mode,
cool.
And all of a sudden, these are all dark mode illustrations. We've been running a small closed alpha
This
program with about 100
is a
users
huge
for a few
benefit
months,
of
and I wanna
working
share some
with
of the work
a
that
studio
they've
like
been doing.
Koto,
Now,
is
my
that
team
they're
built these features,
connected in
I built
ways
those
like
features.
this.
I
Like,
was engineering and PMing
this
on the
is
project, and when I see the
essentially
work that users have been
free
making, honestly, every time I still
brand
say,
awareness
"Wait, can you do that in
advertising
Figma?"
we just got,
Now you can. It's supposed to be a slide here. It's gonna come out soon. There we go. Yeah, cool.
which is
Thanks, everyone.
awesome. Thank you, Koto, if you're watching this, for including us.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, closing thoughts. I am excited personally about sites, and I think that when it comes to our brand and marketing design work at Kit, it might be helpful for David to be able to mock up like things for Corey and handover, or be considering different breakpoints and be able to better present those, or more easily create those, I guess, than what we have going on right now in just like Figma design. Not sure how useful their AI tool is going to be. I guess it could come in handy for mocking up interactions and that sort of thing. Like I said, I want to dig in and see if there's a possibility of using it to export any animations. Or maybe that might be a future iteration on Figma Buzz. I don't know. If it's not possible right now, then let this right here be me saying I called it when they announced that at a future config. Yes, that would make it really useful from a brand and marketing perspective. Figma Buzz is like built for us. I'm really excited about that. I'm excited to dig into the whole UI and to just see our side of design in the tech industry recognized and appreciated and cared for in that way. Really appreciate it, because we have been using a tool that wasn't designed specifically for that type of work for a long time. And then I do think Draw might replace the things that I currently open Illustrator for. So that is exciting. I hope you enjoyed watching this keynote together though. Thanks for hanging out with me. Let me know what feature you were most excited about and also which one you were most surprised by down in the comments. I was definitely surprised by Buzz, for sure. All right, thanks for watching. Happy designing, and I'll see you next time.